Episode 16. Fact. Blue fonts look stupid.
Hello and welcome to what is a really special episode of Tactics Board today. All our episodes are special because, well, we're the only guys who do this, but it's extra special because we're working off your questions from Twitter that you sent to me personally on the @Action81 account, what you want to see in the Mayo and Tyrone game, what you want to see me break down. So we're going to start off with a big area that a lot of people are asking about, and that's Mayo's attack. And rather normally for this site, they aren't Mayo's colours, but listen, we've got a limited number of colours here. Mayo are going to be orange for the purposes of this video. So, Andy Moran, Alan Freeman, Cillian O'Connor. This is not how they're going to look for most of the game, but it's going to look in the programme. What will they look like? Well, we're going to have a few options here. The spike, which is a commonly popular thing in the clubs, is something we might see a bit of, but not in the traditional way where we have 13 and 15 in here, a little bit tighter, breaking out. No, we're going to see a lot of unbalanced spiking. So we're going to see Moran possibly on the wing, O'Connor into the inside, O'Connor here, Moran here, Freeman possibly a bit off centre, Moran possibly coming even closer to him, likewise O'Connor, flip that again. We're going to see this because Freeman is the best of what are three target men. And this is a key thing. This mightn't always be Freeman. We could have Freeman out here, we could have Moran out here, we could have O'Connor here. It could really jump around. So because all three can work as target men. Freeman's the best natural ball winner, but when it actually comes to coming off the 21, Freeman's probably the weakest in this particular zone. So Freeman's really going to stay a bit further back, and when we're looking for targeting a bit higher out, it'll be Andy or it'll be Cillian. Obviously, we're not going to see too much of them this close to each other, although don't be surprised if we see many two-man situations here with one guy on the wing. The reason being, Mayo like to score goals. They've scored 4, 0, 5 and 4 in their 4 games to date, and in their last game before the championship they also scored 2 against Dublin. So Mayo are going to look to use a lot of sort of, I suppose, unbalanced looks here in the full forward line. And this is going to present challenges for Tyrone at the back, because Mayo are going to just keep on changing those looks. They aren't always going to go spike, they'll often go flat, but again they'll unbalance it. They'll have O'Connor nearer to Freeman, they'll have Moran nearer to Freeman, they'll have Freeman out in the corner occasionally with Moran in the centre. They're really going to mix it up because they're going to try and get Tyrone guessing. This is up at the speed Mayo do. We saw samples of it in their demolition Johnny Gall. I honestly feel this full forward line is yet to gel, which considering they scored 3-7 between them in that game is something else. Now, another area you want to look at here is what will Tyrone's attack look like? And we're going to look at that now before we get to the midfield area, which is kind of related to Tyrone's attack, but we'll go to Tyrone's attack next. Okay, I've got the 3 most important men when it comes to scores from play for Tyrone. You might go, well, what's Joe McMahon doing there in a defensive role? The whole point is Joe McMahon is a sweeper for Tyrone. That is his job. He happens to also be their second best scorer from play. So what Tyrone need to do is find ways to get Tyrone, they're going to have to break Joe quite literally here. They're going to have to break Joe McMahon out into scoring position. Sean Kavanagh, as we know, is their best scorer from play. He has the most versatile shooting stroke of the entire Tyrone side right now. In fact, all season long it's been quite clear he's the most versatile range as a shooter. And up here we have to be decided full forward. It's normally been Stephen O'Neill, but we saw O'Neill be pulled out, but they still replaced him in that quarter-final win over Monaghan. They're going to have a man up high, and the reason is to win frees or to possibly lay the ball off. Now, more often than not, Tyrone are going to rely on that full forward who's very highly placed. I have him right up here inside the 13. They're going to rely on him to take pressure and win frees. Mayo aren't really that susceptible to giving away frees that close to their goal, so we're going to see a lot more creativity here, spreading balls out. And again, it's going to be tight angles for shooting here. O'Neill himself has struggled at tight angles. He's actually much better with wide tight angles than narrow tight angles. I'm sure some of our stat analysis viewers can back me up on that. He actually seems to be much better off when he's a little bit further out and has to adjust his shot more. When he's got a little bit lesser to work with, he really struggles in those tight spots. So Tyrone are going to obviously rely heavily on frees, but the key question for me will be, can they get enough shots for Joe McMahon? Now, the one player who we haven't really got to talk about with Tyrone this year is number 1, Niall Morgan, because Niall Morgan, of course, is injured, gone for the season. So why am I talking about him now? It's because Niall Morgan opens up their open play game, because when you've got a long-range free taker like Morgan, and all respect to Kavanagh, he doesn't have Morgan's range, and it's a good 15 metres difference between their 2 max ranges. That really opens up your moves inside, because defenders have to know that suddenly your free zone is closer to 60 metres than it is 45. So all of a sudden, where you can foul isn't as safe. This means there's more room in midfield to create attacking opportunities. No Morgan means they can close it down around here. That's a huge problem for Tyrone. They've got to find ways to open it up, and it's going to involve a huge risk with Joe McMahon coming from the back. Now, the last area we're going to look at is another area you're all asking about. That's the midfield battle. We've got the two O'Sheas, we've got the two Kavanaghs, and we're going to have two other players on this board as well who are going to play crucial roles in this aspect of the game. Okay, so why we picked Donald Vaughan to go along with the two Kavanaghs and two O'Sheas, and of course, good old Joe. Well, I have a lot of time for Joe as a sweeper. He's essentially, the problem with McMahon is his role has become too much for one player, essentially. They're asking him to be both their best attacking supporting defender and their primary supporting defender as well. That's an awful lot for one player, especially one who's as many miles on the clock as McMahon. Sixth here, of course, Donny Vaughan. Pardon me. So, what's the issue here? Well, essentially, Aidan and Seamus O'Shea and Colin Kavanagh are both more possession players in midfield. What do I mean by that? They're not going to be the guys creating the attacking side too much. Shamey probably has an edge in this respect, but they're much more about the defensive end and also about sort of, offloading the ball to a man who's better at bringing it into attack. Of course, our two men here, Aidan and Sean, they are the best players at bringing the ball into attack on their respective teams. But the difference really is that support for Aidan is so much better in terms of his outlets. He really has a great set of options in the half-forward line, which is spread. So that means when he drives, he has outlets here, here, and here, which really aren't as available to Kavanagh, because you've got Donny Vaughan, who's, for all his wide knee faces, excellent at chasing down, with a great supporting cast behind him. It essentially comes down to speed in the middle third. You're going to hear a lot of talk about the strength of Aidan O'Shea during this game, but far more important than the brute force battle, because to me it's actually a fairly even fight. If you saw these two guys fighting outside a pub, it'd be a hard call. But when it comes to speed, this isn't a fight. Sean Kavanagh's reasonably fast, Aidan O'Shea is light and quick, and he's got a lot of guys who are similar around him, and that to me is going to be the huge difference here for Mayo. In the middle third, they will have a level of speed that Tyrone simply cannot live with. And normally this is where I tell you to click on my face and subscribe, but we're going to make a slight change today, because our blog is up for the best blog post at the Blog Awards Ireland. And it's a blog I wrote about a time somebody left a bomb outside my flat. So hopefully there's a link around there somewhere. I'm pointing wildly. But somewhere on the screen, or else failing that in the text box with this, there's a link telling you where to go. Vote for Action 81, waiting for the boom. It's at the time somebody decided to try and blow up my apartment block. They failed, thankfully. And I'm still here making videos. So do that, and if you feel like subscribing afterwards, great. But listen, just vote for us, because we're kind of awesome, okay? Thank you.